It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the two owners of a sports podcast called SmallTown Sports. How are y'all doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, we're doing good. Thank you for having us on here.
You're welcome. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to start a sports talk podcast?
Yeah, so our freshman year of high school, or not freshman year of high school, of college, we met each other in a sports media class and we became really good friends. And then when COVID hit, we were both sports media majors, and we wanted to kind of hone on our skills and continue to work on talking and practicing that and interviewing women who are in sports and gain advice from them. And we thought that starting a podcast was a really great way to do that and to just gain connections, work on ourselves, and get out there and really work on our skills.
Can you talk about, of course, how your sports communications majors has helped y'all with y'all's podcast?
Yeah, so we're from the College of Journalism and Mass Communications here at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and they just have been a great support system for us and providing equipment and the faculty and then our peers too. We're just so thankful that we are able to have a platform, and so through them, we really have been able to launch this podcast, and we're really appreciative of that.
Can you talk about how you came up with your name of your podcast, Small Town Girls?
Well, both of us are from small towns and we're both girls. And so we were just kind of like, let's do small town girls. It's who we are. And
Yeah.
kind of it's goes along with how we're growing and kind of what we wanted to do is we were from these small towns and we wanted to kind of make it bigger than what we were from our small towns. So I think it's a good way to tie that all in together.
That's amazing. Haley, who are some of the people that you have interviewed?
Oh, geez. I mean, probably the biggest one we had was Laura Oakman, an NFL Fox sideline reporter. And I think that was just such a privilege and honor. You know, she's so busy and football season was gearing up then. And so she's been in the business for over 25 years. And we just, it was crazy that she took time out of her day to, sit with us on Zoom for an hour and share her advice. So that was a great experience and great time interviewing her. And then we've really tried to highlight people in the Lincoln area too, the women that are in this field. There's a small portion of them, so we wanted to highlight Hale varsities like Erin Sorensen, and then Channel 8 ABC like Allie Snow. So yeah, we wanted, we're just trying to have a diverse pool moving forward too.
Megan, can you talk about, do you only look for like women like in the professional sports, or do you also go like some of your college coaches, like if LinkedIn has like some female college coaches, reach out to them and be like, hey, can you come on?
Yeah, we're definitely looking to start doing that more. I know that last season we actually had a college basketball player on and we interviewed her. She's in I can't remember now.
She's
Augustana?
Briarcliff. She's
Briarcliff.
NAIA, like a smaller division, but yeah, she's killing it. So
Yeah. And so we're looking for people to highlight like that and just who are paving their own way, whether it's going to be college coaches or college athletes, just anyone. And we're really trying to not only highlight women in sports, but women in all professions is another plan that we have, is because it's not just women in sports who need to be supported, but women in all professions, because everyone's grinding out, everyone's being successful. And I think that's really important for us moving forward to highlight everyone.
That's amazing. What are some of your segments that you have on your podcast?
So we've done like small town moms when we brought in our moms, and that was such a fun episode. We just did season 1, so we only had was it 7 episodes, Megan?
Yeah, I think only 7.
Yep. And
Yeah.
so we're starting season 2 now, but we've just been able to, have those cool niche here and there to bring in, and that's really cool. And moving forward, we want to have a like I said, bigger areas to highlight women in. So
Can you talk about, of course, what the listeners can look forward to in season 2?
Oh, we have a lot going on in season 2. Well, especially after our Channel 8 interview, people started to recognize us more, started to follow us, and we started getting messages from people who were like, "Hey, I am from the Nebraska area, and I saw you on the news, or my mom saw you on the news and sent me this, and I really want to be on your podcast, or I want to support you." So we have a lot of people who are big and who want to be on the podcast. So that's something that our listeners can look forward to. It's very exciting.
Haley, can you talk about, of course, teaming up with Sports as a Job and joining their network?
Yeah, we were so grateful that Colby, he's the founder of Sports as a Job, he reached out to me a little while back, and he said he just listened to the podcast and he would love for us to be on their team, and we were just so thankful to have another platform for listeners. And so we're just, yeah, it's a great foundation, and they really have a positive message. And just for them to add, the women supporting empowerment movement to their team, and recognizing that, we were just so thankful for.
Megan, have y'all, of course, hooked up with the rookie contract to maybe collab on some episodes?
We haven't yet, but I know it's something that we're definitely thinking about. They're great over there, and we definitely want to be part of that and get to know them a little bit more.
Haley, what are some of your future plans with SmallTown?
So I think Megan and I want to ride this series out till we graduate for sure. We're both sophomores at the university, so hopefully we can get 2.5 more years out of this, and then we graduate. But yeah, for right now, we got a couple more years, and then looking on for other future plans.
Megan, of course, like she said that y'all are going to graduate in 2 more years. In 2 more years, when you graduate, where do you see this podcast going?
Well, I just think in the short time that we've actually been doing it, we've grown so much already. I expect that we'll probably get more listeners and more people who want to be on the podcast that are even bigger than what we've had. I don't know how we're going to get bigger than what we've already had, and I can see us expanding our guests on the podcast and who we have on the guests and their backgrounds. But I don't know. It's really hard to think about that in the future just because how quickly we've grown already. And I think that our partnership with Sports as a Job may grow even more. We may take on more with that. There may be more opportunities that come with that. But I think a big thing with Haley and I in this podcast is just grabbing every opportunity that we can and kind of writing it out and making the best of it.
Haley, starting off with you, what is something that you learned now that you didn't know before starting?
Oh goodness. I think the biggest thing is the networking piece behind it all, and just the guests that you form a relationship with that I didn't know. Like obviously, in sports the networking side is a huge portion of it, but it really, like, the women that we've talked to and that, we want to support them, and then back at like the vice versa of it. It's just been amazing, and I didn't realize, how much goes into it, and just the relationships we've formed with these incredible guests. Yeah, I didn't know any of it before I started this. So,
Megan, what is something that you learned now that you didn't know beforehand?
That's really a tough question. I guess kind of what Haley said is networking, and also don't be afraid to reach out to people because they were just like you at one point. They were, at the bottom of the totem pole just waiting to make their big break. And so that's why people are so gracious to like come on the podcast or do anything for you, is because they know what it's like and they know how it is. And that's also a great thing about women supporting women, is they're so willing to do anything to help you out, and they're really supporting. And I just think I didn't know that it's okay to reach out, and if someone does reject you, like, that's fine. You move on and you get better.
Haley, what advice would you give upcoming sports podcasts looking to get started?
Oh my goodness. We, starting this, we kind of did it for a class assignment, and, the amount of growth and, the learning curves we've I think first, knowing the equipment, that is so important, to get the correct sound levels and just, that transparency. I think that's so important. But, you can podcast from anywhere. Really, you just need a phone basically to get started. And then I think the ability to speak and have a flow in the conversation, that's important. But, through the 7 episodes we've had, we've, continually gotten better at that. And it takes time. So yeah, I think, and then just keep growing and learning. That's really the biggest key.
Megan, what advice would you give?
I think that don't be afraid to ask. That's what I'm always going to say, is don't be afraid to ask anyone for help, anyone for advice, because if you're editing and you have no idea how to edit, go and ask someone that you know how to edit, or look it up on YouTube. Always be willing to get better at what you're doing. Never settle for, oh, this is okay. Just always keep getting better and keep pushing and keep going after those goals that you have for yourself and goals that you have for your podcast as well. So just kind of keep grinding it out, and, don't be afraid to ask.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find, of course, the podcast on podcast platforms and on social media?
So for our socials, we are at SmallTown Girls, but with no I. It's just GRLS. And then we're available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And so, yeah, we have a couple platforms. And then, of course, Sports is a Job now on their website. They're posting our episodes. So, yeah.
Thank you again, Haley and Megan, for your interview, and best of luck with SmallTown Girls.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Haley and Megan, for your interview, and best of luck.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.